Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Parents as Partners Virtual Conference 2020. Special thank you to the Toronto District School Board for planning this conference, and as well a huge thank you to our many sponsors. In our session today, we will be exploring the topic engaging family with student-driven portfolios and career exploration using My Blueprint. Our session is being recorded and it will be provided to you for easy access and viewing on the Toronto District School Board's webpage. I'll just go through some housekeeping before we begin our session formally. The session will last 45 minutes to an hour, including our Q&A segment. You have all been placed on mute upon entry, and you're being asked to type your questions in the chat room, and those questions will be answered throughout where possible, and mainly in our Q&A segment, which comes at the end of the session. Again, our session is recorded, and so if there are any participants who have children or they themselves have My Blueprint account, and any questions are being asked, please ensure that your questions are general and that they do not specifically speak to your child or to your account, because this video will be accessible by the general public. So our session today, I'll just go through our agenda. I'm going to begin with brief introductions of myself, tell you a little bit about My Blueprint and how we got started, and then I'm going to do a live exploration of our student and parent account, where you will see how easy it is for you to be engaged with your children and how it is your children can be the persons who really take a strategic role in doing their career exploration, as well as having you being there as supportive participants in the process. Then I'll head over to sharing a little bit about the family resources that are available to you, and then we'll do our Q&A and I'll provide you with some next steps to get you started. So a little bit about myself. My name is Roxanne. I have an educational background. I've been in the education field for 20 years. I am a trained teacher of English language, literature, and reading, and I have taught in both the secondary and tertiary school levels. I am a support specialist here at My Blueprint, and I am enjoying my role specifically because I get to engage with so many educators across Canada and really work with students and parents in ensuring that students are supported in their learning. A little bit about our company. My Blueprint began in 2005, where our CEO and co-founder, Gil Silberstein, had a research project that he was undertaking at Western University, now called the University of Western Ontario. At that time, he had the opportunity to engage in a very comprehensive interview with a number of stakeholders across Canada. And it was from there that he came up with the concept of My Blueprint, because he believed that there was something missing in the education and career life planning realm for students, and that students needed to be more empowered in this process. That was 15 years ago. And over the years, My Blueprint has grown to providing support to educators, to parents, and to students across Canada in over 360 plus school boards, spanning 8,000 plus schools, and having over 1 million active users. Now, one of the central focuses of our platforms, both our elementary platform, All About Me, and our education planner platform, which we will be exploring today, is that we believe that family should be or is very important in a child having a very valuable experience in school. And so these quotations or statements that I'm going to be going over seem very relevant now, as well as because our conference, Parents as Partners Conference, really drive home the fact that parents are critical partners in their children's education. So Ann Henderson and Karen Mapp said, when schools and families work together to support learning, children tend to do better in school, stay in school longer, and like school more. Additionally, Jane D. Hull said, at the end of the day, the most overwhelming key to a child's success is a positive involvement of parents. And so parents as partners really help to give children a positive outlook on their learning, as well as students are more empowered when it is they're supported by their parents. Now, if it is that you happen to not hear me for any part of the session, please feel free to indicate that in the chat room as well. I'm monitoring the chat room. And if there is anything that is happening with the slide, please also go ahead and share in the chat room for me. So we are going to be looking on our education planner platform to really show you how easy it is for you to stay engaged with your child, as well as how easy it is for your child to have that student-driven portfolio creation and that career exploration processes done through our platforms, and for you to monitor these activities. Our comprehensive platform is student driven. It provides access to students from grades 7 to 12 and onwards. So it goes along with your child even after they have left secondary school. And students are able to not only document their learning and showcase their learning, but they are able to reflect on their learning and share their achievements with you and other family members. So I'm going to head over now to our live exploration. For those parents who already have my Blueprint account, if you want to pull up your accounts on your devices, that's fine. And for parents who do not have my Blueprint, not a problem. I'm going to walk you through the steps to show you how easy it is for you to get started on my Blueprint. So we're going to go over to our demo, and then I will walk you through the student account as well as the parent account. Now for your child logging in, they would go through the school board's district landing page, and they would sign in through that portal with their TDSB credentials. So once they are taken to their district's landing page, they would go ahead and enter their username as well as their password. Because we're going through the demo process, I'm just going to log in the normal way. Now, once your child enters into their My Blueprint account, they are met with their dashboard. And from their dashboard, they are able to see a number of IPP tasks, their individual pathway plan tasks that they are asked to complete. And these are specific to their school board as well as their grade. So our grade 10 demo student here has IPP tasks that are specific to her at her grade level. Once the child moves up or is moving into another grade, the IPP task will change and the child will have additional tasks to do. So just a quick overview of what the tasks may look like. Students are to complete very simple tasks, add an objective, and so on. And once they do that, they are able to collect points and then also see prizes that are available, whether these prizes are offered by the school board or by specific companies. They're also able to access scholarships from here as well to see what scholarships they would qualify to apply for. Heading back over to our dashboard, your student will also see a quick summary of their high school plan, as well as the classes that they are enrolled in. Additionally, they have their favorites area, and this is very important when we talk about that career exploration. Once your child begins to explore and starts to favorite careers that are of interest to him or her, these are easily compiled here, as well as programs that the child believes will be something to look at a later time. These are also housed here. So here we see a number of occupations that our demo student has started to explore and has favorited, and as well programs that she has already begun looking on and favorited as well in relation to those occupations that she had looked on. Heading back over to our dashboard, your child also gets a view of those in-demand occupations, and this data is compiled by our research team. It is up to date and accurate, and this is also a useful place for your child to begin that career exploration as well, to look on key occupations and to consider what pathways they could plan if it were that they were interested in any of these occupations. Importantly, too, your child is able to access files and resources that are provided for them by the school board as well as their school and specific classes that they may be enrolled in. So quick access for them to read up, for example, what's happening at school, read the school calendar, what the rules are, and so on. Now over to our navigation bar to the left, where we'll be doing a lot of our exploration, where I'm going to show you how it is that the career exploration activity can be done in a number of different ways by your child in their education planner account. So I'll be looking on our Who Am I on our high school, and I'll briefly look on workplace through our high school planner, as well as just touch a little bit on occupations here in our work feature. So heading over into our Who Am I, very important place for your child to begin their career exploration. One of the things that's essential is that you want your child to think of a career or potential careers that they would likely enjoy, and definitely a career that they would excel in. And by identifying their key interests, their personalities, their knowledge, and motivations, those are great places for students to begin that career exploration. So our students are provided with 5 very easy surveys. And once they answer those survey questions, they are generated a report. And that report gives them a preview or a summary on the specific survey topic. So we'll take a look on, for example, the personality survey. So the demo student here is said to be the supervisor in terms of the personality type. Very extroverted, sensing, thinking, and judging. Already, we get an idea of what it is to be considered a supervisor, because we then go down and provide an even more comprehensive analysis of the different characteristics associated with this type of personality. Importantly, your child is provided with an overview. And from here, we see that our demo student is outgoing. She feels at ease in large groups. She likes to work with a team, and she likely enjoys the spotlight, socializing, and working through problems with discussion from others. This demo student enjoys having a deadline and likes to have goals that she's working towards. As well, They tend to place emphasis on the final product. They like to have structure, and they want to be in a team where everyone does their part to get the job done. So, importantly, we see that when your child conducts or completes the surveys, your child already begins to get a real thorough exploration or explanation of what it is that they like or what it is that they do not like. Now, heading back to the surveys, another interesting report for your child may be their interest. Again, you want that career exploration to begin at a place where you know your child will excel or likely to enjoy a particular occupation. So, what are the interests of your child? Your child may find out that he or she is very sociable as well as enterprising. So, they would excel in careers where it revolves around people, usually in assisting, teaching, healing, or serving others. As well, this person is enterprising, and so they could also become entrepreneurs where they are involved in the world of business or work in a field where they are starting and driving projects, as well as using their leadership skills because they're willing to take risks. And again, we had learned that their personality type was that of a supervisor. So those leadership skills are definitely useful when it is that they're said to have interest in enterprise. This person also is a catalyst. They care about people and love to help them. And again, your child is able to click learn more to read even further about what their interest is or interests are. Now, heading down to knowledge, just this last one, we see that in terms of the knowledge area, another important place where your child may decide to begin looking on careers that are of interest to them, they may choose to look on an area where they're saying, I want to do something where I know I have the educational skills or the applications that I can excel in my career. And so we see that our demo student does well in language arts and also physical education. And already career clusters are recommended based on those two top subject areas. And so this student is likely to do well in an occupation that is focused on human services. It includes working with families, individuals, couples, and communities, and it looks on serving the community, anything with healthcare as well as personal care. And from here, career exploration can begin by the child clicking view occupations. So a number of different areas from that Who Am I survey where your child can begin to start that very in-depth career exploration. Already, we have seen that our demo student went in and began looking on some of the career clusters in human services and had went ahead and favorited community health worker. And a number of recommendations were given, 25 results, and all of this is specific to the knowledge area that the child had excelled in. Now, why I believe starting at the Who Am I area is excellent is because once your reports are generated for your child is able to start that portfolio documentation by adding to portfolio. So we talk about having that career exploration, but we also talk about having students have that student-driven portfolio. So once your child has their report, he or she can begin to start saving and storing their data in order to access it at a later time. So your child is able to go ahead and add to portfolio. And for the sake of our session, we're going to go ahead and name this portfolio career exploration. So it's easy for your child to begin documenting from this space. And once they click added, that report is saved. So your child begins curating a body of work by adding in these reports that are essential in them deciding on a career or potential occupations that they'd like to explore. Now, a very important thing that we must remember is that we continue to evolve and change. Something that may be of interest to us today or something that we may be motivated by can change over time. And so we give your child the opportunity to redo these surveys as many times as they would like to, or if it were that the teacher asks your child to redo the survey at the start of the school year or at the end of the school year, your child is able to redo that survey and then save that new report where they're able to compare and contrast what the results were from the one done previous to the most recent. Now, after your child does the Who Am I survey and begins to look through on any number of occupations based on their personality, their interests, knowledge, motivations, and so on, that your child begins to have an idea of what it is they'd likely be good at. But what we have that really takes it to the next level is that we provide a compatibility analysis of what occupations your child is likely to be good at based on all the survey responses that was provided. So going to the compatibility survey area, all the assessments that were done in the Who Am I, our system begins to generate potential occupations based on the composite of the survey results and not just in one independently. From here, we see that our demo student has been recommended a number of occupations that she might be good at. And this is, again is might, that she might be good at or she might enjoy. The way that your child will be able to assess even more if she or he would enjoy or think that they would like to pursue an occupation is for them to do that compatibility survey analysis. So your child gets taken to this area where all these occupations are provided for them. Now, career exploration can be more in depth and more focused, where your child now says, okay, I remember that they said that I had an interest in human services. And based on my knowledge area of language arts and physical education, something in education or something in business would be good. Your child may then decide to look a little bit closely on business, going with that enterprising interest that they had, or your child may decide to look a little bit closely on human services. And so he or she can filter based on those compatibility recommendations that have been provided. Now, just generally, if it were that they wanted to just look on the career cluster and just begin a wide analysis or research, they may decide to pick any number of occupations just based on what they think they'd like and start doing those compatibility surveys. So I'm going to click in one. We've seen that our demo student has done a few and favorited. And I'm going to click on one here, family social worker, so we can see, and this one ties in well with that whole human services interest. So from here, your child can read a little bit on what a family social worker does. Additionally, they're able to look on what education is required. They'd have to have a university degree and just a quick summary of what the outlook for this job would be, as well as the salary range that can be expected across the provinces. Then importantly, they're able to look on related videos on how it is that they can move into this career path. This is very important, especially now when we are really having students doing virtual learning because of what's happening across the world. So having the access to this data is very critical for students, because without having to go out into work experience or a co-op or take your kids to work day, your child is still able to get important information about a number of different occupations by using their education planner account. Then they see the important skills that are required for this job, as well as other related occupations to the family social worker, and as well in the whole field of human services. Looking a little bit more, they can start looking on what the outlook for this job is in different provinces. Now, there are students in Ontario, they may decide that doing this type of job, it looks good, the outlook is fair, but if I were to, for example, decide to move to British Columbia, I'd have a much greater opportunity based on the data to get employed in this field. Now, what's good about this too is that while we have said what the outlook is like for this job in different provinces, your child can even see what the salary ranges are for this job across the provinces as well. So we said that the job outlook in British Columbia was excellent. However, we see that in Ontario, the salary range goes up much higher than it does in British Columbia. And in Alberta, it's even much higher. So, child can look on a number of things, start to weigh pros and cons for a specific area or a specific province in terms of a particular occupation. And then they're able to see what the employment growth opportunities look like across Canada, as well as related job postings that are matched and taken from Indeed. So these are um, important areas that your child can have access to start looking even more on what is required by employers in a specific occupation. Then they look on the requirements again, and do I match? That's where it matches right back to that who am I survey result from the interest here, knowledge, and motivations. We see from interest, it's a very good match. Knowledge, motivations, yes, doing this occupation, they would be likely to succeed based on what they said they were interested in, what their knowledge strengths are, as well as what their motivations are. But now, what does this job really entail? Will I enjoy the task? So many of us, we look on jobs and we think that, ooh, it looks extremely glamorous, or we hear that this occupation, this salary is excellent. But when it is that we delve even further on the task that someone will have to perform in this job, we may be a little bit concerned about whether we would enjoy these tasks or not. So the compatibility survey gives 10 very quick questions for your child to answer, whether they would be interested in or likely like a task or no way at all. And from that range and the selections that are provided to a number of tasks, the compilation is done at the end, and that is where your child is given that percentage score to see how well it is that they would match or enjoy a occupation. So we saw that our student here had a 94% match for secondary school teacher and a 90% match for flight attendant. Again, we know that things change. So while survey results can change for who am I, you may want to redo this assessment again to say, well, I did think I enjoyed that or would enjoy that, but I'd like to redo this at the end of the school year to see if it's something that I'd still be interested in. And your child is able to restart that survey. So let's just looking a little bit closely on this career exploration. So your child has been told that she or he has a 94% match to secondary teacher. And they have gone ahead and favorited because they'd like to have that documented in their favorite section, but they'd like to also go ahead and add that to that career exploration portfolio. Very easy for them to just click that thumbtack and they're taken over where they go ahead and add. So adding to a portfolio is quite easy from any number of sections just by clicking on the thumbtack. Then again, looking on the occupation, the same review, the outlooks, the requirements, and do I match? So they've been given a 94% in terms of the compatibility responses, but now let's look on what it says in relation to the who am I. Based on the interest and knowledge and motivations, it shows how compatibility the child is to a occupation. And again, it gives the responses, the summary here of all those 10 questions that your child would have answered. And once they've saved that in their portfolio, they're able to go back and review. And when they restart the survey, they're able to document again and save to the portfolio when the new results are generated. So doing career exploration can begin there. Heading over into the high school area, your children are selecting courses that are specific to the requirements of the province for them to graduate. So they're going ahead and selecting courses to meet that graduation requirement. But also importantly, they are selecting courses that they would enjoy or have an interest in doing as well. So once they've gone ahead and selected those compulsory courses, there may be a pathway that your child wants to explore in terms of pursuing a particular occupation. We saw that for them to do a job in family social worker, they would have to have a university degree. However, what we've seen here is that our child has selected courses that don't take them on that university pathway. From here, your child is able to meet with the career counselor, sit down with you as the parent, and discuss what changes they can make to their high school plan in order to get them on that path to head over into a university of choice where they're able to select a degree program to get into family social work or a job in human services. Another interesting thing here is that from their high school plan, they're already being given occupation recommendations that are aligned or they can do with just their school diploma. So from here, they're given 31 results, our demo student has 31 results here, that if it were that they wanted to work for a year or work during the summer, these are potential jobs that they could start thinking of doing because their high school plan as well as graduating with this high school diploma would have them ready to work in any of these 31 jobs. And so again, this exploration can take place where your child begins to look on the requirements and importantly, now do I match in terms of what would have been given in my Who Am I survey. So from the high school plan, this job is recommended, but what does it say in relation to my Who Am I responses? And from here, we see that it's a good match with interests and motivations, but not so much with knowledge. And so the child is able to do that compatibility survey to get that percentage match to then have a formal documentation of whether he or she would enjoy the task associated with a job of a host or hostess. So those are two main areas. Your child is also able to access this from that post-secondary area from this post-secondary tab. And again, they'll see potential categories that they can filter through, or from the work area as well by clicking on occupations, and they are generated recommended occupations again as suggested. And these are based on survey results, searches that the student has been doing over time, their favorites, and their continued interaction with their education planner. Now, as a parent, how can you be engaged? How can you be a partner in this process? Your child is able to have you link to their account by clicking my links in their account and going over and adding you. So already we've seen that our child has added her mother, and possibly it wants to add dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, or uncle. They're able to do that by going ahead and just clicking add link, putting in the name, putting in email, and clicking add link. Once that's done, a message will be sent to the person at their email address, and they would click. If it were that they already had a My Blueprint parent account or family account, the account would be linked. If it were that no account had been created by this family member, then they'd be prompted to go ahead and get their account set up. And once it's done, they would be linked to their child's account. So being able to link to your child's account gets you in the process of being partners with your child through this career exploration, as well as through this student-driven portfolio documentation. So we've noted that student-driven portfolios become valuable components to your child's learning. It's visible, it allows the teacher and you to give feedback, it allows you to see the growth of your child, as well as the child is able to do critical thinking by continuing to reflect on what they have learned throughout time, as well as by redoing those career occupation surveys and thinking about what they saw in the videos or looking on the research about these occupations. They're able to critically think about any number of different occupations and the likelihood for success when it is that they decide to leave secondary school. Now, heading back over to our demo, I'm going to head over to your parent account where you are able now to begin to be even more supportive of your child in their process of career exploration and documentation. So, as a parent, if it were that you were to decide that you wanted to create your My Blueprint account, your child has not yet sent you an invite, but you wanted to go ahead and create your My Blueprint account, you simply would go to myblueprint.ca/TDSB, click sign up, and then from here, you'd select the school. For sake of this demo, I'll select a random school here, and you click create account. Once you click that, you're taken to the screen where you click Family Advisor and then click the grade range of your child, which would be grades 7 to 12 because they're using the Education Planner account, and then you'd click Continue. So from there, you'd go ahead, complete the account creation steps to get yourself set up in My Blueprint. Now, we're going to log into the parent that we had already seen that was attached to our demo student. And heading into this parent account, we already are able to see how easy it is for you to be engaged in your child's learning. And this is not just in relation to career exploration, but in everything that your child is doing. We see that our parent here has 3 children that she's attached to. And we were in her first child, but we're going to just take a look overall. So we have her 3 children linked to her account, and she's able to click from each child by just clicking on the name of the child. So from here, she can go specific and view what's taking place with one of her children over a period of time. So she's clicked on her son and she's seen the work that he has done over a number of days. Now, this can be filtered for 7 days, a month, or a school year. And by just looking, you're able as a parent to see a number of things that your child has done. They have set a goal in relation to getting a job as a web designer. This is also very important in that career exploration. You've identified that you'd like to do a job in a particular field. Let's get the child set up with a goal. The child goes ahead and sets that goal. So the child has identified and has said, this is something that I am interested in doing and I'm going to work towards it. So I've identified this. I'm going to go ahead and work on getting myself on the pathway to achieving my goal. And so they've set out tasks that they will do, and you're able to see these different goals. And then we see here, prepare myself to get accepted into a particular program as well. Now, you can also click on specific sections that you'd like to see. So if you just like to see the work that your child has done in their portfolios, you can click on that to view that career portfolio that your child has worked on to even be more involved in that career exploration. So this is for the son. Now heading back to our child who we were looking on closely. The child on this feed, you're able to see everything that has been happening in your child's account again, seeing what occupations have been favorited and what careers have also been saved in these different portfolios as well as those results from the Who Am I survey. As a parent too, you are able to go into your child's account. This is extremely useful to you. You're able to go in through that overview and see an even more detailed analysis or report of what has been done. So you're seeing the portfolios that have been created and the many boxes that are in each portfolio. As well, you're able to see how they've worked on their IPP tasks, what goals they've set, those Who Am I survey results. You're able to see the responses here, and you see a little bit about what's happening in that high school plan as well. How many credits have been planned, how many have been completed, what are the potential for apprenticeship, college, university, and workplace. And you'll see the favorites as well in terms of post-secondary programs at universities. And by clicking view, you're able to see that in more detail. And for the IPP tasks that have been provided for your child to do, you're able to also quickly just get an overview of the tasks that have been completed. Heading over into viewing your child's account, you click that I and you're taken into your actual child's account. So here, by clicking the I, you are taken back into seeing everything that your child is doing. Very important for you parents when you're thinking of being engaged. So you can do it from your parent account by just looking on the overview or looking on the feed, or importantly, by going directly into your child's account and taking an even more closer look. Now, from your parent account again, you are able to get messages. So if it were that the teacher has sent messages to your child or to the class, and your child is a member of that class, and the parent has included family on these messages, you would be able to receive these messages in your parent account. And you get that notification here as well. You'll see when it is your child has asked to link to your parent account to theirs. So we've seen that your child has been sent a message by the geography teacher that they are to study for their test on October 30, where they will be labeling the map of Canada with all provinces and capitals. You now can remind your child to be prepared and see the map as well that the teacher had shared, because you see that attachment link there. So Michelle, yes, you'll only be able to see the messages if your child is linked to your account. And also, if the teacher has said that parents must be included in these messages. Teachers can decide not to include parents on messages. They can toggle on yes or no to include you in messages or not. So if it is that you would like to be included on messages, it would be important for you to say to your child's teacher, please, if you're sending messages, please be sure to click yes to include me on messages so that I can see what it is being said. Or you could go to your child's account as well and view those messages by just going here to their message notification. Uh, yes, Vania, if it were that the account has not been closed by your child, yes, your child would still have access to their account. So once it is that you or your child has decided to keep the account, it would still be accessible. Please note, at any time, my blueprint can be contacted by students and parents and ask that the account be permanently deleted. If the account still remains and the deletion has not been asked for, then the account will be there for your child to access as well as for you to access as well. Now, another wonderful way for you to be even more knowledgeable of what's happening with your child and for you to be engaged in that career exploration and that portfolio creation is for you to be the student yourself. And I know that when I was going through the surveys, a number of you were probably saying, whoa, I'd love to do those surveys myself. Well, with our platform, you get the opportunity to do that by going into student view. So you have the option here, work as a parent, view your child's account, but also you can be a student yourself by coming in and completing those Who Am I surveys, completing those IPP tasks, creating your own portfolios and setting goals and so on. Now, from here, you can pretend to be your child along the way. So if your child is in grade 7, pretend you're in grade 7, grade 8, so on. If your child will be heading into a particular grade next school year, you can go in advance of your child and say, well, they'll be moving to grade 9. I'm going to go ahead and see what the IPP tasks are for grade 9 and get started so that when they get to grade 9, I can help them or encourage them to work on their task, as well as do a bit more in planning for my high school as well. So you can go ahead and create a high school plan. You can use your student view with your son or daughter to actually think of possible ways or different avenues or pathways that they'd like to explore in order to not only get their diploma, but also to get to university or to get to college, whatever it is that your child would like to pursue, they're able to decide. So you can go ahead, create a test plan or a demo plan, as many plans as you'd like with your child. Go ahead, start filling in those recommendations, what is required by this school board, and then you'll able to generate your pathway eligibilities, just like we saw with our demo student. You'd have that pathway eligibility generated as well from your plan. And so working in your student view account with your child as practice can also be done. And from here, you're able to even be more active in that high school planning and that career occupation exploration even more. You can even focus on that college and university option as well and start to really get involved in thinking of different post-secondary opportunities and programs that your child can get enrolled into, what the budget would be, and so on. And so I'll just quickly look on that here. So if it were that your child decided that they wanted to pursue that job in education, we saw that it was recommended that the child would do excellently as a secondary school teacher, and you wanted to start narrowing down potential programs, you could go in your parent account and start to do research independently or with your child from your parent account. And so going in and narrowing down to see what the options are that are available in your child pursuing a number of different programs. It may be that the child is doing well and has a number of college options available. You go ahead and filter to college and then start by looking on different programs. We said our child would be good in something related to human services. So tying in human services and education would also be a possible option to explore. And you're able to compare any number of programs and add to portfolio to further save for exploration. So here it is, you're able to work through with your child, look on the overview of different college programs, the length, the tuition, what the details are for the program, as well as the requirements. How does the high school plan work in meeting up to the requirements, and more information about the institution and their various campuses. So career exploration isn't just going to be limited to a career or an occupation. It's going to involve doing thorough research on programs that are available and looking on budgets as well. From your parent account, you're able to work with your child through the process, as well as you as a parent can independently do this. Maria, if it were that you didn't want to go ahead and create a parent account for yourself, you could sit with your child in their own My Blueprint account. So when your child is in their account, sitting with them at home and working through it would be another area that I'd recommend. So they wouldn't have to link you. You wouldn't have to go ahead and create that parent account if you didn't want to. But if you were able to sit with your child or they gave you access to their account, then you would be able to go in and work with them. You could go on your own. Yes, Maria. Yes, you're able to do that on your own. And parents, if it were that you wanted to explore yourself to find out who you are. So you could answer the who am I as if you were your child, but going ahead and answering the who am I as yourself too is also a lot of fun. So being a part of the messages are one way. Teachers can send messages out. You're not able to respond to messages. So if it were that you needed to be in dialogue with the teacher, then you'd have to choose a different way to communicate with the teacher. Now, one of the other ways that we talk about being engaged with your child is by you giving feedback. So providing that feedback for your child keeps you it keeps you abreast of what they're doing, but it shows an even more focused effort on your part to really say that I see what you're doing and I think it's great work, keep it up, or oh, let's discuss this later, or let's look on this in more detail some more. So looking to see what your child is doing, you're able to quickly add a comment or media here by typing in or giving an attachment. Let's say you saw a handout or got a video link that you'd like to share, you're able to go in and share this with your child from your parent account. Now, we've supported you by even giving a very short document that gives you some ideas of what feedback you could provide to your child. I'm so proud that you're able to. Tell me about this. Do you think you need some help with? So we've given you a number of different feedback prompts that can start that conversation going with your child. So from here, you can decide to add that feedback to your child's account and say, something very constructive, very encouraging to your son or daughter. And by clicking, that comment would be sent over to your child, and they'll be able to see that. Your child's teacher will be able to see that as well and see that you are engaged and supporting your child throughout their learning process. So, student view, looking on the student feed, going through messages, going into your specific children, you're able to do that. Now, if it were that you wanted to be linked to one of your children and you wanted to actually initiate that link, you could do that as well. So you wouldn't have to wait for your child to ask or give you a right to be linked. You could go ahead and request to be linked. You just go ahead, type in your child's email address, and click add student. Now, please note, clicking add student does not mean that you have been linked. It will be for your child to go ahead and accept your invitation in their student account. So it has been sent, it says pending, and then you'll see the request here to say that you're waiting to be approved. Once your child goes ahead and gives you that approval, then you'd see your child light up here with LC, and you're able to start clicking because they would be in blue, and you'd start seeing an overview of the child here as well on your parent dashboard. Now, heading back to our presentation, we support your children as well by giving them the option to create the portfolio through a number of different ways, either by clicking add to portfolio or by going into their portfolio area and creating that portfolio from scratch. We also provide exemplar portfolios for you and your child to look at, to think of ways that they could go ahead and document those learning opportunities. Now, we provide getting started guides for you, family account overviews, and so on for you to better able support your child. And I'm just going to click on a number of these resources. So your getting started guide supplies you with that same information that I had given in relation to getting started with your child or getting started with your parent account. So by if going to myblueprint.ca /TDSB, if you just went to myblueprint.ca, not a problem. You would then go and then enter the activation key for your child's school. If you are not aware of the activation key, you can always contact us. But without needing the activation key, you just go to myblueprint.ca /TDSB, and you could just select the school, and the activation key would not be required. Then it gives you steps on how to link to your child's account and how to explore your demo student account. Importantly, to those exemplar portfolios. So your child is doing those student-driven portfolios, but they need a little bit of help or some inspiration. We provide examples of what some of these portfolios could look like. So, for example, your student or child has decided they want to pursue a career in education or in human services, and they'd like to apply for a scholarship. They could create a scholarship portfolio that you could help them with by looking on this example and working with your child to populate this scholarship portfolio that would be very useful for them in applying for a scholarship. Importantly, too, these portfolios can be used by your child when they are doing that occupation interview, that job interview for a job. So they're deciding that they want to work in the summer for 2021. They can begin creating a portfolio about a career or occupation that they're interested in and they'd like to work in for the summer. And this would be an area for them to decide how it is that they can even have this portfolio ready for them to go into the world of work. This can be used continually throughout building it as the years go by. And when your child leaves, heading off into college, they could prepare a college portfolio for that specific program they were interested in. Oh, Maria, this is under portfolios, just giving some examples of portfolios that your child could create and what are some of the things they could put in that portfolio. So we saw our child create that portfolio in relation to career exploration. And they had a number of things that they had put in. This is the parent account. But from here, your child is able to see examples. And we have set how to create a portfolio. So you could even practice from your parent account on how to make a portfolio. Very easy for your child to do it as well as you. And I showed how your child could create that student-driven portfolio from that who am I area, from that career area, but also your child could create that portfolio from the portfolio space. And again, any number of portfolios can be created for any number of occupations or any number of programs, universities or colleges that they'd like to try out. So here it is, our child had created their portfolio from that who am I area, as well as from that occupation search area. And so these portfolios can be customized by adding an image, giving it a banner, as well as giving it a picture. So the child could take a picture or select one that's already saved to their computer. And then they could go ahead and share with you. So if you decided not to create your parent account, or you had created your parent account, but you wanted to get this portfolio in a nice slideshow, the child could present it to you from their account in a slideshow form and walk you through it, but they could also go ahead and share with you by giving that portfolio a name for my parents to review. So that student-driven portfolio, they go ahead, generate a link, and then from here, they can copy that link, share it with you through email or in another medium, or they could go ahead and email it directly through to you. Once this is done, you get a notification saying that your child has shared that portfolio and you're able to go in and view. Now, if your child shared it and they only had 3 boxes, not a problem. If you are not viewing this until Wednesday and your child has added much more content to this portfolio, you are able to see the live portfolio as it stands. So if the time you click on this portfolio, there have been 10 things added, you would see this 3 plus the additional 10. So it's an interactive portfolio that continues to grow even after the link has been shared. And that's another beautiful way for you to stay engaged with that student-driven portfolio that your child creates. And again, if your child wants to just go and create a new portfolio, they can do that by going directly here and clicking Add Portfolio from scratch and following these steps. So Add Portfolio, giving it a title, discussion on careers with my parents. And then they could give a description, add that portfolio, and then what they could do here is do reflections. So a number of different portfolios can be created. Again, as I said, we have those example portfolios. Students can create different types of portfolios and you can guide them through that process or practice in your parent account to support them along the way. Now, our website also has a remote learning platform as well with a family corner as for you to support your child. And I spoke about those family feedback prompts that you're able to access. All of that is available on our support site. So our student account, I walked you through how it is that your child logs in, how it is that you can be invited to link to your child's account by your child. And I've shown you how it is that your child can create the portfolio either from the portfolio space or from their Who Am I, from the occupation space, from a number of different areas by clicking on that thumbtack and by creating a new portfolio or by adding to a portfolio. And for yourself, you saw how to log in, how to create your parent account, how you can ask your child to be linked to their account, and how it is that you can view your child's work from your account, commenting on it, or how you could directly be engaged with your child by going into their account and looking directly in. Additionally, how it is that you stay abreast with what's going on through those messages that are sent by the teacher. Now I'm going to open up for any additional questions that you may have. So you could go ahead and type it in the chat box and I'll just continue to close out on my session. So I just invite you, if you haven't done so already, to go ahead and create your My Blueprint Parent account. If your child hasn't already started working in their My Blueprint accounts at their school, not a problem. You can create your parent account and still begin working through it. As well, thank you, Maria, thank you. As well, you're able to get started with exploring your student view and getting an understanding of how it is that your child can work well in their account. And then go ahead, link with your child's account when your child is up and running in their account and stay engaged with what's happening with your child along the way. You are welcome to visit our support center for guides, video tutorials, and much more to support you along the way and to further support you in engaging with your child in their account. And you can connect with us on our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And always feel free to reach out to us via email or by giving us a call. We're always happy to hear from parents in the TDSB as well as students. We're always happy to hear from your children. So encourage your child to reach out to us if they're having any concerns or they would like additional help in creating those portfolios or ideas. And also, you're always welcome to reach out at the end of the session going forward if it is that any questions come to you and you'd like additional information about your parent account or about your child's My Blueprint account. I want to thank you so much for your attention, and I want to again thank the Toronto District School Board for putting on this very wonderful and meaningful conference. I believe that parents and partners, again, is very, very timely. And right now, with the fact that a lot of remote learning is taking place, you're able to stay abreast of what's happening in a number of different ways with what your child is doing from your parent account as well as in your child's account. And I also want to thank our sponsors again for sponsoring this session, Parents as Partners Virtual Conference 2020. Yes, Khalid, uh, I'm happy to hear your question. You can go ahead and type it in the chat box, or if it is that you would wish to speak to me after I have closed off the video, I'm happy to stay on for a few more minutes to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you again for your participation and for your attention. And please remember, You are always welcome to email us or give us a call if you have any other questions that you may think of in the upcoming days or weeks. We're always happy to hear from you.